The Joe Rogan Experience.
It's like trying to find your calling and your passion in life. It's like you don't have to necessarily know what that is, but whittle it down by what don't you want to do? What do you hate?
Yeah.
What do you hate?
Right.
Don't even look at what you like. What do you hate? I don't want to do this. I don't want to do this. I don't want to do this. I learned very early on at a young age, like I do not want to go down this path that I see everybody on. This go to school, get a job, have kids, get married, retire, die. Like I don't want that. I don't know what I do want. I just know that to me, I don't want anything to do with that. And I'm going to go in the exact opposite direction. Whatever that is, as long as I'm far away from that, that's where I'm going to be.
Well, it's one of the benefits of being an outsider.
Yeah.
When you're an outsider and you see all these people that are supposedly doing the right thing, but living these sort of empty, meaningless lives that they don't enjoy, particularly that they don't enjoy, you know. And then, you know, when I was a kid, I always looked at normal people living normal lives. I could never relate. I never understood it. You know, I also grew up from a broken home, and we were also on welfare, and, you know, the whole deal. Because I think a lot of motivated people come from a place of despair when they're younger.
Yeah.
And I always had this thought in my head that one day I would make it.
Yeah.
One day I'm going to make it. I'm going to make it. And then one day I realized, and I don't know when I realized it, probably when, like, on paper I'd already made it.
Yeah.
I realized, oh, there's no such place. Like, this is not real. Like, you can't ever, you don't make it. No one makes it.
Yeah.
Like, every day you have to be trying to do better. Every day you have to be trying. First of all, there's no perfect human. Let's accept that. You're always going to be flawed. You're always going to be subject to fits of rage and envy and all the things that you wish that you would never have in your mind. So you've got to constantly be working to make sure that that never happens. You constantly be working to make sure that you are always evaluating your perspective on life and always looking at things. Meditate, constantly meditate. Make sure that you approach life with a learned perspective. Like, you're a better person than you were the day before, and whatever you're trying to do, whether it's fighting or whether you have an art form that you practice, whatever it is that you're doing, you're trying to do better every day. And you never, even if you accomplish some, like when, you know, you accomplish some amazing work of art, that's just that day. The next day you got to go back to work. Like if you have a world championship fight and you've trained for 8 weeks and you win by knockout, and a spectacular result, and you're very happy with the result, you got a day or two to relax.
Yeah.
You got a day or two, and then you're like, fuck, okay, now what? Well, now you got to get back to work. And if you think that there's some place like a movie where you're holding hands with your loved ones and the fucking sunset's going on and the credits roll, that's horseshit. And we have this idea in our head that there's this place that you can get to where you've, air quotes, made it.
Yeah.
And I'm here to tell you that motherfucker doesn't exist.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously I'm not the most successful person in the world, but on paper I've accomplished a lot of shit, and it doesn't mean a goddamn thing. Every fucking day I get up and I'm like, all right, I gotta figure out how to do this. I got to work on this new bit. Okay, I got this podcast today. I got to be on point. Let me think about this. Let me read this book. Let me, you know, whatever the subject is, let me get into it. You have to. If you don't, you're gonna feel like shit.
Yeah, it's that destination mentality.
Yeah,
like,
there's no destination.
Yeah,
it's just a journey.
You're never going to get there.
There's nowhere to get to. There's nowhere to go.
There's nowhere to go. As soon as you get there, you're like, geez, I'm just as far away from that thing that I thought, because as you develop the things that you think you want develop too. Like,
yes.
Oh, one day I'm going to be rich, but the richer that you get, the richer you want to become.
Well, then you start filling up your life with these meaningless destinations, right? Which are material objects. Like, I want a fucking yacht, bitch.
Yeah.
I want a jet. You know, and you're like, I want a bigger jet. Tom's got a fucking jet, but I want a big jet. I want to I'll pull my jet up beside his jet, let him know, motherfucker, there's levels to this game. You know, and that's what people do. And it's they fill their lives up with meaningless possessions, and they still aren't happy.
A Band-Aid to cover up what is the real thing here?
Do you know how many really successful people I know that are fucking medicated to shit?
All of them.
A lot of them.
More so than the people that aren't in a lot of ways.
The people that struggle, they're on a better medication. For real, the struggle of like a hard working person that can get done with a day of hard work and have a feeling of accomplishment, and then go home to your family and get going again, knowing you have to get up in the morning and do it again, knowing you don't have enough money to buy a yacht, but knowing you have enough money to put food on the table, and there's a satisfaction to being able to provide that. That's a better medicine.
Well, that's the thing with why it's so important and vital to travel and, go to these third world countries. Like, these people literally have nothing and are inviting perfect strangers into their homes and giving them things that they do not even have themselves. Like, why are these people so happy? Why are they so at peace?
Right.
Because they understand what's important. That it's not this materialistic thing, and that's not to say that materials are bad, but we view them as these objects of success, and I've made it, and things are perfect in my life, and they do the exact opposite in a lot of ways. If you don't have a good grasp of what's really important in this life. And unfortunately, a lot of times we need everything taken away for us to really understand what those things really are.
Yeah. You can appreciate some things. You can appreciate a nice car or a nice house. But if you get really caught up in them, you are trying to fill up a bucket with a hole in it.
Yeah.
And it's never going to fill up.
Yeah.
You're always just going to look for bigger and bigger things to try to fill that bucket up. And you're going to feel full of anxiety all the time chasing that.
Yeah.
And there's no real satisfaction. Then that's why, when you look at one of the things that people look at when you look at people that are extremely materialistic, that wear the most fancy jewelry and drive the most fancy cars and the biggest houses, we always think they're shallow.
Yeah.
Always. I mean, isn't that funny? Like, the thing that you would look at in terms of like markers for success. Markers is like material things are the big ones, right?
Yeah.
They're the big markers for success. The big house, that's the big one, right?
Yeah.
Big ass fucking mansion. Look at this mansion.
Big everything.
Big everything. Look at big fucking rock on his finger.
Yeah.
Big chain. Big this, big that. There's nothing there. There's nothing there.
And it's so ingrained in us from the time that we're born.
Because it's hard to get.
Yeah.
That's why it's a trick. It's one of those things that's hard to get, so you think you want to get it.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of things that are hard to get that are worth getting.
For sure.
Right? I mean, becoming a great fighter is hard, but it's worth doing.
Yeah.
Because once you do it, and you realize, like there's an expression that I've used before, but my Taekwondo instructor said to me when I was a little boy, he said, martial arts are a vehicle for developing your human potential.
Yeah.
And I remember that. I'm like, oh, shit. And I've used that many times, explain it to people. But that is the benefit of getting good at a martial art.
Yeah.
Like, you go through this difficult thing, and then through that, you reap all these personality rewards. Mm-hmm. You reap these character rewards. You reap this understanding of what you're capable of, right? If you are capable of making it through a brutal camp and getting up in the morning when you know you don't want to, that alarm clock goes off and you're like, I don't want to fucking run. But you do it. You go out and run, and you do it every day, and you get through it, and then you're successful. And you realize that you have this incredible endurance because of the discipline that you put in. You realize that you have this incredible skill and this understanding of how to fight correctly because of all the time and the hours and the focus. You're a better person because of that, right? That's a real goal. But that yacht, I'm gonna work 16 hours a day so I can get a bigger yacht, and then I need a house with bigger windows. I need there's a nonsense to that. Like, look, I'm not saying if you can afford a nice house, get a fucking nice house. It's great to have a nice house. But what I'm saying is, it's not the end. Yeah, it's you are the project. Yeah. Your mind is the project. Yeah. How you treat people is the project. Yeah. How the way you are with your family and your friends and your loved ones and the people you communicate with. Get better at that. Yeah. That's the goal in this life. The goal in this life is how we treat each other.
I know, and I wish these were things that we were taught.
No. It's better. It's better that you didn't learn it that way.
Because you had to figure it out yourself.
Yes, because you had to figure it out yourself, and because you can explain it to people.
That's true.
In particular, that you can explain it to people, having gone through this horrific adversity and come out on the other end with a message. Yeah. And so other people that are going through some tough shit, you've got the medicine. Yeah. The medicine is you've actually experienced it, and it's a map. It's a map of the territory. It's not It's not a fucking pill that you can take and all of a sudden everything's going to be better. But what it is a map of the territory and and a knowledge. Hey, you can get through these woods, and on the other side there's a beautiful green meadow and there's a lake, and it's really nice.
Yeah, for sure. I think that was one of the benefits of the way I grew up, which is really hard and horrible. But I got to see firsthand both sides of money. I went from living in a basement with 5 other people and living on welfare to living with my father in a mansion, and it's like, oh, yeah, all this money and all this stuff is just emptiness and meaningless, and it doesn't necessarily equate to real happiness.
No,
and
doesn't.
like, why are we all chasing this so hard? And I got to see that firsthand very, very early on. I was like, I don't want this at all.
Well, it's a trick. It's like the same reason why people love to play video games. Because they're difficult, but there's no real reward unless you're a professional video game player and you make a living doing it.
Nowadays,
there's no real reward. You just get better at it, and you get some sort of a sense of satisfaction. And I mean, there's something to be gained from it. In fact, some video games they've actually shown can increase your cognitive performance and other things, similar to the way chess does.
Right.
But the trap is that they're hard to do. So when we see things that are difficult, human beings are sort of puzzle and problem-solving oriented. We see puzzles, we want to solve them. We see mysteries, we want to find out. That's why everybody's into like Bigfoot and UFOs and shit, because it's a mystery.
Yeah.
Oh, what is it? What do you think it is? Like, we have a natural inclination to try to solve things like that.
Yeah.
And we think that because in life, look, if you try to solve where the food is, you survive. That's what made us alive. That's why our DNA has been passed down for all these hundreds of thousands of years. Because our ancestors figured out where the food is. They figured out how to drill a hole in the ice and fish. They figured out how to survive.
Yeah.
And this is why things that are difficult to do are attractive to us. But we have to be able to differentiate between things that are difficult and meaningful and things that are difficult and bullshit.
Yeah.
Brian Callen? My friend Brian Callen said something to me once when we were really young, and it was the perfect thing. We're both in our 20s. And he said, all you want is enough money so you don't have to worry about what something costs when you go to a restaurant.
Yeah.
He's like, everything else is bullshit. I was like, you're right.
Yeah,
like that feeling
it's
of being able to have enough money to just get a nice meal at a restaurant and not sweat it.
Yeah.
Like, everything else is gravy.
Yeah. Well, they've done countless studies on this. Like, once your basic human needs are met, you have food, shelter.
Yeah.
Everything from that point on doesn't correlate to any kind of happiness, and in many ways is the exact opposite. Creates more stress.
Yes.
And all of these
Yes.
things. Like, how much do you really need? And if the more you think you need, the more problems you're creating, and the more distractions you are from the important things in life and developing as a human being. You're developing all these materialistic things, but you're not developing yourself emotionally and mentally and spiritually.
Yeah.
And like, just as soon as you realize that and be like, why am I what is the purpose of what it is that I am chasing?
Yeah, I think the study was like, they said $80,000. Like, everything over $80,000, like, you really don't experience any much more. Before that, you get into like 40,000, 30,000. Well, now you're struggling. It's hard to feed yourself.
Yeah.
It's a weight on your shoulders. But once you hit a certain number, it's like, you're going to be all right.
Yeah. Yeah, you're not gonna be on the street.
Yeah,
you're
living. Like, I remember when I lived in this apartment. I had this kind of shitty apartment, and then I moved to a better apartment. And then I was sitting in this better apartment. I was like, I'm kind of used to this. Like, I'm used to this. Like, this is just home now. There's a feeling when you get when you're home. Like, all right, I'm home. Now I'm in this other apartment. It just costs more money.
Yeah.
Like, okay. I remember thinking that, like, is this better?
Yeah.
I mean, I guess it's better, but it costs twice as much. Like, now I got to fucking think about how I'm going to pay for this bitch.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I think about, like, when I had, like, $5 in the bank, or when I had $5,000 in the bank, like, did I feel different? I didn't feel different at all.
No.
I might have felt different, like, when I go out to eat and the check comes, like, how am I going to pay for this kind of thing? But emotionally, I didn't feel any different whatsoever.
Yeah.
And, I think that's such an important lesson for all of us to learn. And if the sooner you figure those things out, the better.